Hey everyone, in this video, we're going to talk about 3 components every business has. My name is Blane McCullough. As a veteran, I've trained with the Army creating media campaigns. And after 6 years of military service, I would work with dozens of entrepreneurs in creating everything from logos to websites. And now, with over 15 years of experience, my goal is to help you tell a story that will impact your audience and build a brand you will be proud to bear. Okay, I don't care what kind of business you have, every business has to have these 3 components. You have to have a product, a brand, and sales, right? So I want to break each one of those down a little bit more, kind of get into it. So let's start with your product. I'm going to say this, all right? Most of the guys that I deal with, most of the entrepreneurs that I deal with are typically smaller businesses, right? And so I'm saying that to say this, that every business should kind of want to have quality versus quantity, right? Unless you have the budget to, distribute these mass products all over. Sometimes, yes, I know we're sourcing for parts and things like that. It's cheaper if I buy more with a less expensive material or whatever the case may be. And so sometimes the quality of your product suffers if you're trying to just, do in bulk. But what I will say is, especially if you're a smaller business just starting out, do the best you can to provide the most quality that you can. And that applies to the product. So source the best product you can source. If that means you have to do a run of 50 instead of 100, I'd argue you should probably try to go with the 50 instead of the 100. And obviously I'm using lower numbers just for sake of math, right? But whatever the breakdown is for you to get a better product, I'd encourage you to get a better product at maybe a lower quantity at better quality than to mass produce a higher quantity at a lower quality. Just because when you're a smaller business, I don't know that you have too much wiggle room to get too many returns coming back, right? I know we've all ordered things from Amazon and either I've had items come in and they were already broken, or sometimes I've had items not ship, right? And I had to go back and let them know, like, hey, I never received this, never received that. Or something came in, wrong size, wrong color, right? You can have these kind of imperfections, but again, Amazon ships on a national level, right? They're everywhere. So they can afford to have some returns. You as a smaller business, look, 1 or 2 returns could probably derail your business, depending on how, severe that is. And I don't mean so much because those returns were bad. I mean that you can lose those repeat customers that would not only, 1, say something positive about your business and talk about it in a positive light. 2, they just wouldn't come back as repeat customers because of that experience. So I would definitely encourage you, put out the best quality of product that you can afford to put out. The second thing as it relates to product, guys, listen, do some research and development. I think sometimes, we rush products and maybe they're an inferior product because we're trying to rush to market, because we're thinking, hey, if I could just get this product to market, I'll get an opportunity to start to get some cash flow, right? But I think what happens is in the rush to get to market, we neglect kind of some smaller details that end up costing us, whether it's, and I've seen runs of product have to come back because, they didn't get this right, or they didn't get that right. Printing errors are going to happen, manufacturing errors. Listen, guys, these are going to happen. So, work with that manufacturer. If it's your first time working with them, don't do the largest order that you've ever done. It's your first time working with them. Fulfill a smaller order first and see what that relationship looks like. See what that turnaround time look like. And really get your hands on knowing, what product, if you're going to go with a product, is it exactly what the customer is expecting? Where are some things that you can improve? This, that, the other. Really get some research and development going. Development is the idea of really, produce that product. I think sometimes why we don't want to spend money on research and development is because, it costs money to spend on research and development. So how much money do we spend just trying to test the product? Some people may say, I'd much rather just get the product out there. So it's just something that you definitely have to balance. One of the things I know a lot of entrepreneurs tend to kind of bootstrap their business, or they're living very close to client to client or paycheck to paycheck kind of a scenario. And I get it. You're bootstrapping it. You're trying to make the thing go. You're trying to put money everywhere you can. You're stretching it everywhere. Just be mindful of, putting a little bit more time into your research and development. That should yield you a better product. The last thing I'll say about product is don't be afraid to get feedback. Encourage feedback, encourage reviews. you want to kind of get a gauge of, do people like what you're doing? Do they not like what you're doing? And they could like it, but still have a thought of where things can improve. Don't be afraid of that feedback. You're never really going to know where you can improve unless you hear it from someone. And so welcome feedback, encourage feedback. I'm sure you guys have been plenty of places where they say, hey, if you do this survey, you're entered for a drawing, those kinds of things. Incentivize people for giving you a review or giving you feedback. If you give me a review, you get a free dinner, or, get a free shirt, whatever it is you're selling, just to kind of get that feedback. It's worth it for you because you're able to fine tune. If you hear the same thing 10 or 20 times, you kind of have an idea of something that you can improve. And then again, you may not want to, but having the information allows you to then make a better decision. The second thing I want to talk about is brand, right? And I can talk on and on about brand. This is what I'm passionate about. This is what I love to do. I love to tell stories and build brands for companies that I work with. And I'll definitely be kind of reviewing some bigger businesses. I'll be reviewing some smaller businesses that I'm working with currently, just to give you guys an insight to what I see when I talk about brand and how you can build and how that resonates. But I think the biggest thing that a brand does is it identifies your message or your company's position to your target audience or to your community, right? So if you think about something like Nike or Gatorade, right? They serve very similar communities, and Nike's whole mantra is just do it, right? We all know that saying. Gatorade, I want to say they ran a campaign for a while. Is it in you? I think was one of their campaigns. I'll double check that. But the point that I'm making is that they took that brand message and they made it identify with the community that they served. And that community typically tends to be athletes, runners, trainers, athletic and high energy target audience, our community. That's kind of what they target. Typically, we associate Nike and Gatorade with athletes, right? High performance. They need to replenish their energy and, keep going. They can't quit. All of these kind of gritty images, right? So those kind of things are things that we think about when we're thinking about brand. It builds a community. And when that community identifies with the brand, they show you by wearing the brand or by drinking the product, whatever the case may be. So think about that with your business. What brand or what message are you putting out there? What story are you telling that identifies your product to your target audience? So, that can take any different kind of shape and form. I think that's really where, you could sit down with someone like myself and we can really go over that for your business if that's something that you're interested in. But you definitely need to have just an understanding of who you're talking to, what you're offering them, how are you getting them to identify and be a part of your community. A lot of entrepreneurs come and talk to me. They want me to help them with branding and marketing. And then they go, well, the marketing and the branding is going to take care of the sales, right? Listen, understand sales is a separate department from marketing and branding. They definitely work hand in hand, but it's a separate department, right? That someone separate is running your sales. I tell people all the time, I don't make products. I'm not a sales rep. I help you build your brand, right? So that being said, a lot of entrepreneurs come in and they go, well, hey, I'm not a salesman. I don't want to be a salesman. And I will say this, you either learn to be a salesman or you hire someone. Now, you learning to be a salesman is just you getting outside of your comfort zone. Understand that really, and I would encourage you to look at it differently. It's not you being a salesman so much as it is telling your story, right? And that's why I use that term. If you tell your story, you're not selling anything. You're letting them know who you are, what you've been through, and what you've been through caused you to create such and such a product or provide such and such a service. And if you're interested, you would love the opportunity to show them how that product and or service benefits them. And if you're truly creating a product or providing a service that has value to someone else, they will buy it. You're not selling anything. Your work or your product will speak for itself. You don't have to be a salesman. You have to be true to your story and be true to your community. And when you identify with them, they will see that. Listen, you can hire the best salesman in the world, but if he's just there for a paycheck or to collect the commission, the people will see that. People will know, okay, this guy's really just trying to sell me something. I don't know that he believes in the company. That's why I encourage the entrepreneur, be the salesman. Look, I don't really like getting on camera, but I know that I got to talk to my audience. So I don't want to be in front of the camera, not because I have a problem with it. I don't think. More the issue is I just love to be behind the camera. I love to create the product. I don't want to sit in front of the camera. But in order to identify with my community, I know that I need to get in front of this camera and start talking. So that's kind of what I'm doing. And I would encourage every entrepreneur to do the same. Get in front of the the camera and start talking to your audience about your product. Be passionate about what you do. Be passionate about what you love. And that's what I'm trying to lead by example in doing that, even for my channel and for the content that I'm creating. Even though I create a lot of content for other people, I still have to find the time to create this content, because I definitely believe you are the best salesman. I wouldn't say salesman, but you're the best representative or spokesman for your brand, because typically the brand is you as an entrepreneur. You maybe got 1 to 10 employees type thing, 1 to 20, it's small community. A lot of times these smaller businesses are run a lot by family at the core, and anybody else is extended to that. They've been with the business so long that they feel like family. A lot of entrepreneurs that I work with, they're family oriented businesses. And so there's a real already a core of community there. And so all you want to do is invite more people to be a part of that core of what you guys are experiencing every day in your brand. So I encourage you, do not be afraid to really push your brand, sell your brand, if that's the word you want to use. But I would say, invite people into your community. If you're selling the right thing, if you're providing something of value, they will buy, right? They will purchase what you have to sell. So in closing, every business has a product. Every business has a brand. Every business has sales, right? You need those 3 components to every business. And as the entrepreneur, those are the 3 departments that you need to kind of be the head of initially until you start to develop a team around you. Yes, there's things like HR, there's legal, there's shipping and receiving, there's dozens of other things that are also components of your business, right? But I would say those are the 3 things that every business starting out needs to really focus on. And I think the other elements are there to support those core elements of the business. You'll add on legal as you get there. You'll add on, accounting as you get there. You'll add on training as you get there when you're onboarding new employees. Add a whole training department. There's all kinds of things that you can add onto your business, but focus on those 3 components. Are you delivering a quality product? Does it identify to a community or to a brand? And third, are you seeing revenue from that? Are you generating the revenue that you need to generate to keep your doors open?